So how do you ensure agility of your team and the larger org per se? Because if you look at even research data, org agility is going to become an expectation on HR.
So we do promote a lot of flexibility around this workforce in terms of, for example, IT as a function, for example, human resource as a function. They're all enabling functions which give a lot of support to the entire ecosystem. So when you choose any product, any technology per se, does it scale to meet your future requirements? Some of the parameters as what you need to look at it: scalability, user friendly design, stakeholder feedback, understanding your business, the priorities, the culture, and a seamless integration to the other applications within your system.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of our special series, HR Evolution Perspectives Experts Take, presented by People Matters in association with Darwin Box. I'm your host, Pallavi. Through this exclusive series, we connect with top CHROs and thinking minds from the people and work landscape across Asia to break down the important talent trends across India and APAC. This series builds on insights from the HR Evolution Perspectives Empower and Evolve research study, which is one of the largest workplace transformation studies in Asia. Comprising responses from over 2,000 HR practitioners and 1,200 plus employees, this exhaustive report paints an in depth picture of what companies and employees are looking for in today's time and place. We look forward to exciting conversations with top leaders to get their perspective on the top trends we're seeing from the research, and we'll understand from them some of the strategies that they will be adopting to drive their business forward, to drive growth and innovation at their organizations. In today's episode, we have with us Durga Prasanna, Head HR, Aster DM Healthcare. An HR professional with 16 years of experience in the healthcare industry, Durga is presently into strategic planning, policy formulation, leadership engagement with talent management. He has experience in managing modern HR systems with depthness in maintaining harmonious industrial relations among management and workers through efficient administration and resolution of the employer's grievances. Very warm welcome, Durga.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thanks for having me on this show. It's a real pleasure.
Also joining us is Sashwat Kumar, Senior VP Global Customer Success and Delivery, Darwin Box, a leader with 2 decades of multi-geographical, multicultural experience in aiding organizations achieve their HR digital transformation successfully. Sashwat has been at the forefront of several trend shifts in HR. At Darwin Box, he helps accelerate the drive to value realization for large and medium enterprise customers, building the leading HCM provider's reputation as a trusted advisor for its 600 plus customers and accelerates the company's global expansion. Very warm welcome, Sashwat. It's always a pleasure to host.
Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks for having me for this session. Look forward to the discussion today.
Well, on this note, I will now pass on the mic to you, Sashwat, and do take us through an insightful conversation with our guest today. Over to you.
Thanks, Pallavi. Durga, excited for the discussion, and it's super important because of also the sector you are in and how that sector is going to be one of the not only the one of the most important sectors for us. It's also a sector which is growing very fast in India. Now, if you think of one of the themes in our research was the anchoring on growth, and growth creates its own set of challenges. So, as you think of rapid growth in your organization, it will be great to have some insights from you. How are you delivering for growth from a talent agenda perspective and still able to balance aspects of employee experience, take care of that, and so on?
Yes, Aswat, yes. So I think everybody knows now the healthcare is going through rapid changes and it's growing. If you look at the last CAGR of the last 5 years, the growth of the healthcare industry has been close to 20%. And an organization like Aster DM Healthcare has been growing steadily over the past few years. So we look at how do we balance this growth with the managing the employee expectations. It's largely around different segments, largely around developing people capabilities. One of the significant things that Aster DM Healthcare has done in recent times has been the evolution of Aster Health Academy. That's a standalone academy that caters completely into the learning, development, and succession of talent of the entire ecosystem of Aster. Today at Aster Health Academy, we have got very curated programs that's focused around very specific cohorts. For example, our esteemed clinicians. We have a very diverse ecosystem of talent, including nurses, paramedic forces, allied and enabling forces. So many of this capability development hinges around the very specific needs of these cohorts. For example, we are looking at clinicians. How do we promote strategic thinking among clinicians? How do we promote the leaders thinking into having a growth mindset? How do we integrate the leaders mindset into the business model and things like that? And we have very curated models for mid-level managers and supervisors. How do they get them thinking into team development dynamics and things like that? The other very important aspect of employee engagement is rewards and recognition management. So today, the rewards is not only around compensation. All of us know that the rewards as an ecosystem, as a framework, it's around benefits, it's around compensation, it's around development, and it's around environment. So today, any organization, anybody joins, a talent joins an organization, the first question is, what is my career progression pathway? Gone are the days when people used to negotiate around compensation, benefits, and pay packages. So today it's all about culture, it's all about benefits, it's all about growth, it's all about the accessibility to top leadership. So these are some of the changes, as Saswat, we have been seeing. And of course, we have very, very specific reward segment for the core employee groups, including Aster Tribes. We have Aster and Sovereign for the people who are at the front office and people who are servicing customers. We have spot recognitions for people who are there at the service. And of course, there are a lot of other elements around employee engagement, around technology, around well-being. Well-being today, as you know, it's not only around physical and mental wellness. It's around social, it's around spiritual, it's around digital wellness. And of course, there are other factors, like security, career progression, and a lot of other elements around it.
So, in fact, Durga, multiple, I will say, insights. So, you talked about the whole value of employee brand anchored on the culture and leadership access. You talked about how do you deliver experiences by segmenting the talent sets. It's not one experience which fits everyone. You talked about the fact that everyone is looking at career acceleration and capability is the lever to deliver that. And you also talked about the whole concept of total rewards and how that value prop comes alive. And as you talk through, it's very apparent that you are executing all of it, and that's how you are supporting the growth agenda. So now if you think of career being the top driver, and that's what all of us look for, and if you go back historically in research, this has not changed for 20 years. If you ask anyone what's the top value prop you need from an employer, is career growth. Now career growth will mean capability growth to enable that career growth, and you talked about different initiatives you have been doing around capability growth, and so on. Obviously that's to address the gaps from also from a business perspective. It will be good to have some insights from you how those results have helped you. So as you have done capability initiatives, just unpack some of the results. It could be in a specific segments overall you have experience, because a lot of people look at capability purely from, or training purely from a expense perspective. But in reality, capability is also a strategic lever to succeed in marketplace. And some of those you were hinting at. So it's good to have some inputs on that from you.
So, Sashwat, what we have realized today is, no, if I was going through a McKinsey report, and I am a firm believer that today half life of no, skills is about 5 years, and more so it is less for technical skills. So, simply meaning a skill that is relevant today is likely to become as valuable in the course of next 3 to 5 years. So, I think that is something organizations need to understand today, that if you don't prepare for the future, and you are not ready to embrace the future, and technology has been a great change. Technology was always there, but post-COVID times, we have seen that the need for technology has catapulted by multiple times in all sectors and all businesses. So today we see capability development, as you rightly mentioned, as one of the levers, in terms of having the right business outputs. So today, when we do the talent segmentation, we identify the top talent, and these are the top talent that make it to the big league. We have a very structured framework of the 9 box grid, where we say, people who are low in potential and medium in potential and high in potential. Who are those people who are high in potential? They are the priorities, and people who are low and medium in potential, the idea and the strategy as a business is to stay invested in them. And how do we maintain it? Because you will never have an workforce that's got highly talented in all segment of the workforce, that have top talent. So definitely many of this, our organization, we see a lot of successes that have grown from the current levels to leadership levels. all our positions, maximum of our positions, we have we have a very clearly and well defined successor slate in which we identify who are the people who are ready now, who are the people who are ready in the short to medium term, and who are the people who are ready in the long term. So a lot of our business and leadership positions are filled by internal capability development and succession growth. That's one part of it. Secondly, today we have realized that you cannot have career progression, a unidimensional career progression pathway, meaning you cannot just have climb the ladder model. You need to have people who could move from businesses, from departments to functions to different businesses and verticals. The growth has to be multi-dimensional, right? A lot of tech organizations today have open market concepts where you start as something and you could end up being in a completely different stream, bring completely a different value proposition to the business. So we have something similar today. For example, nurse. You are asking at examples. Today, nurses, we have very clear segregation of nurse aspirations. A nurse need not be a nurse contributing only to the clinical segment. We have nurses who have decided to pursue their career into supervisory, managerial, leadership roles. We encourage them, and there are nurses who move from nursing streams to operations, quality, and different streams, patient management, service delight. So we have a lot of stories inside where we have encouraged movement cross tracks. We have different career lattices now available in the organization, and we have career maps, career patterns. So these are the different dimensions, and these are some of the examples in which we don't permit only a one dimensional growth. Today, the definition of career itself means different to different segments, and Aster itself has opened up these segments of career movement based on the aspirations of the individual cohorts.
So thanks, Durga. This is great insight. So you did indirectly talk about skills and some of the unique skills you are developing, which don't, on the face of it, seem intuitive for a role. So you talked about strategic thinking in diagnostic and so on. And what it allows for, as you are saying, is you can have a fluid lattice of career opportunities, and people can choose some of their passion areas as they become secure in their career and deliver better for the company. So great points and insights there. Now let's focus the lens back on HR. All this means obviously that today, as you think of a modern HR, the expectations are very different. And hence, if expectations from HR function is different, then expectations obviously from programs like HR transformation is also different. So in your experience and opinion, how that is changing, what's working well, what needs to improve further, it will be good to have some of those inputs from you.
So I think Sastrat rightly mentioned any transformation. I think the approach to any transformation has to be begin with the end in mind. I think that's very, very important, and that is why companies lose out. So any transformation, you need to plan well. Why are you doing this transformation, and what it takes to have that transformation, and what are the desired outcomes of that transformation. Today, to make any transformation successful, I think it needs different levels of thinking, and then you need to involve all the stakeholders in the process of transformation. For example, I will talk about a simple example in the Aster ecosystem. Today, the expectation of patients, for instance, is very, very different. The way feedback was managed, the way the reports were collected, the way the information was dispatched. Today, with the leverage of technology, the expectation, the consumer behavior is rapidly changing. I think that has rapidly pushed the need for transformation. The need for change was always there, but it has got recently accelerated by multifolds post the era of disruption and post the evolution of technology. I think this is where the organizations need to harness on. This is where they need to channelize the energy. For example, feedbacks. Feedbacks is another classical example. Today, there's a customer complaint. How do you manage those feedbacks? Do the customers have a view to those feedbacks real time? So I think these are some of the areas we are currently working on. Managing your feedbacks, sending reports. This is also transformation has led to evolution of new businesses. For example, today, Aster runs allied verticals. We have ventured into new businesses. For example, Aster Labs, Aster Pharmacy, Aster Home Care. Today, people don't come to you post treatment. People don't stay with you post discharges. They expect the service provider to come to them. So this is where has given rise to the new vertical called Aster Home Care. Aster, we have a new segment coming at Aster Medical Imaging and Aster Digital Health. where somebody sitting in the abroad country, somebody in the West, somebody in Europe, somebody in Asia or Africa, a different continent could have access to his medical report or diagnostics within just seconds of time. So I think the change for any transformation process begins with the plan, keeping the end objectives in mind and keeping the confidence of all stakeholders alike, taking them equally. And I think the most important and successful transformations require reaffirmations and confidence in the people involved that yes, they are a part of this journey, and what is it that they're going to benefit at the end by virtue of this transformation. I think the entire process management holds key to success of all transformations.
Yeah. So thanks. So just quickly summarizing, Durga, you were saying the business itself is rapidly changing, and hence expectation from HR is changing, and there is need for transformation. But to execute a successful transformation, keep end in mind, whether it's massively transformative or it's incremental change. Either which way, just be very clear about it, and then drive org change. Keep key stakeholders onboarded, give them constant updates, and that's how you drive transformation. Fair point. So, and as you were talking about the complexity of business, the newer things happening, obviously all of this demands agility. So how do you ensure agility of your team and the larger org per se? Because if you look at even research data, org agility is going to become an expectation on HR. So how do you deliver to that agenda? And you already talked about need for agility from the perspective of multiple businesses, global growth. So all of that will need agility. So your inputs on that or your experiences on that.
So yes, Ashwath, I think organizations can stay away from agility. It is no longer a matter of choice. It's it's forced on you. You have to agile and you have to be fast moving and you have to embrace the change before they say change embraces you or change engulfs you rather. So I think agility today, no, we have got a workforce. Unfortunately, by virtue of the services we are in, patients expect a very personal touch. You expect
Yeah.
a doctor and a nurse by the side of the patient when you are giving care. But having said that, we have a large element of our workforce that's into support segments. So we do promote a lot of flexibility around this workforce in terms of, for example, IT as a function, for example, human resource as a function. They're all enabling functions which give a lot of support to the entire ecosystem. We promote flexibility in terms of remote working. We promote a lot of projects by virtue of cross-functional teams where people get to come closer to each other. We have a lot of projects in terms of where we promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, largely getting in many of our businesses agenda is to promote diversity, where we say that people have to be from a background different from healthcare. They need to be hires of different age group, different ethnicity, and things like that. So that promotes a lot of collaboration in terms of team thinking. That brings a lot of innovation to the table. That makes people accountable to forces them to think out of conventional ways of doing things. So these are some of the examples, the way we promote agility. But yes, the fact lies that a patient needs comfort. Our tagline that yes, we will treat you is something very close to our heart. But having said that, I think these are some of the ways and means we promote agility across the ecosystem of Aster Network.
Yeah, so your point is valid. So one is agility is about a lot of flexibility and empowerment, which you talked through. And the second aspect of agility, to your point, is not only about work flexibility, because certain industries will need pattern of staffing which is rigid because that's what is demanded. There, the agility is about empowering the employees to do the right thing because that's what will drive business success and so on. Now, one of the aspects, and we discussed this earlier, is consistent challenge of lack of success with HR tech. If you look at across the market, people buy HR tech, and I will say a lot of this buying is also happening behind mis-selling. Providers also mis-sell and promise a lot, and people buy behind that, or the discipline of implementation itself is not right, and hence people who have gone through HR tech implementations are mostly dissatisfied. So, in your experience, what needs to change to create a different level of impact from HR tech? Because today, fundamentally, every outcome gets enabled on backbone of digital technology, and HR tech has to succeed for HR itself to succeed. So, how do you kind of make that happen? So, your insights there.
So I think, Saswat, largely where organizations today are missing out is they feel that technology is a solution for business. But I think that's not the fact. If you ask me, my opinion is very forthright. I think technology is only an enabler for business. You need to understand your business, your core streams, the working culture, the diversity and heterogeneous of the talent mix you are going to have. And again, I go back to my fundamental statement of begin with the end in mind. So when you're choosing with technology, does the technology gets embedded, or does it affix, or does it attune to some of the other systems and applications you have? Do they integrate? Do they talk the same language once you integrate them in future? This is something you will need to be very very mindful and aware of. And one biggest thing is scalability. Today, every business, as you mentioned in the beginning, is looking at expansions. For example, Aster DM Healthcare, we are looking at adding 1,500 beds in the next 3 years time frame, which means we are going to add a lot of workforce, probably 9,000 workforce into the ecosystem in the next 3 year time frame. That's a huge expansion we are looking into. So when you choose any product, any technology per se, does it scale to meet your future requirements? That is something we need to be very very mindful of. And then tech should be very user friendly. I think many of the times we miss out. This is a very low hanging fruit. Does it is it easy to navigate? Is it a user friendly application? And the feedback and at the source, do you collect the right feedback from all sources? What do people in systems have to say about it? What do your top leadership expect from this application? What do people in HR have to say it? What are the customer expectations? What are the employee expectations? I think the expectation management is very very key, and that is very pivotal to the success of any application, not just HRMS. This is something very very important. And I think the other important parameter which organizations must consider is the mobile application bit of it. So today everybody is using a smartphone. So could that product or the application be integrated into your handphone? Does it seamlessly assimilate into the smartphone? And is the navigation easy, difficult? And before you really go on and have it big time replicated or implemented in your organization, you need to have small prototypes and see the challenges, have periodic testings to see is it addressing the concerns for why you have impressed the product. So these are some of the parameters as what you need to look at it: scalability, user friendly design, stakeholder feedback, understanding your business, the priorities, the culture, and a seamless integration to the other applications within your system. I think it's all these parameters are looked into, then I think you will never end up buying the wrong product.
Great point. So let me try and summarize multiple aspects you addressed. One is the life cycle of transformation itself. Typically, organizations don't should not be repeating it too many times. So to your point, be planful, be thoughtful, and take the correct decision. The second point is keep the end in mind. So think of it why you are doing. Do something which suits your business and your organization and meets that need. Third point you mentioned about the whole experience piece and the piece around adoption. Because if there is no adoption, then everything else is wasted. And you also mentioned that for adoption, one of the essential pieces is mobile. More so in an industry like you, where a lot of people are really people on the ground and will not have time to even go and log into a desktop. But the reality is, mobile today, the need is not to have a mobile interface, but a lot of platforms need to be fundamentally mobile first because new generation of users are also mobile anchored. And to your point, we need to know what we are expecting. And classical example will be, I will say, data and analytics. There are a lot of tools, but half the time we don't know the right questions to ask, and hence analytics is not really getting used and so on. So all these are super relevant, and that's where to your point we see great differences: people who use systems very well and people who don't use because of all these disciplines. And finally, you talked about the ability to scale and integrate. Today technology is allowed for allows for infinite scaling, and also systems should be open for integrations, because today if any providers create constraint around these, and I totally agree, they are not the provider to partner, because there will be newer tools, newer technology which will continue to emerge, and clients should always have a choice to pick up and integrate and play an experiment. And you also talked about the whole idea of a POC,
Yes.
confirm a proof of concept before you commit to things fully. So all great points, Durga. So I guess that was the last question from my side. It was great having you on this session, have share your insights, and super important from a healthcare sector, maybe one of the most important sectors not only in India but across the region, as we have a young population which continues to age. I think this is a sector which will continue to see exponential growth. So thanks for all the insights.
Thank you, Sashwat. It's been a great pleasure at my end too.
Thank you so much, Durga and Sashwat, for those wonderful sharings and insights in today's conversation. And for everyone watching this interview, thank you for tuning in and encouraging us to become better with every episode. This is also your reminder to get a copy of the HR Evolution Perspectives in Power and Evolve study. You can simply click on the link provided below this interview to download the copy now. More details on how to automate day to day HR processes, steps to simplify human interactions, and getting actionable insights to build better workplaces, you can also visit www.darwinbox.com. That's all in this episode. Stay tuned for more insight filled discussions on HR Evolution Perspectives Experts Take as we together deliberate solutions with the top talent leaders in the region. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you.